Are you like us? Tired of all the politically correct horseshit on podcasts and in the media? Need a podcast that's funny, smart, and gassy? It's not politically correct. It's just correct. This is the Carolina Underground. Throw that middle finger in the air. Raise them up. Because it's time to get loud, proud, and in your face. Generation X. The best generation of all time meets the grit of the South. It's about everything and nothing at all. From current events to woolly boogers to movies to politics. Loud, brash, funny, and never, and I do mean never, predictable. The Carolina Underground with Mark and Mike.
Yo, 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 yo. It's the Carolina Underground, and we're back again, coming to you live from the replica Bat Cave with my partner in high crimes and misdemeanors hiding somewhere in the depths of Sparkleberry as we prepare for the main event of the evening. Thunder Bay.
Are you ready to rumble?
I don't know, but I've had 4 cups of 3-pecker goat pecker coffee today, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Hot dog. Well, and again, that's the thing. I mean, the big ticket tonight is, of course, the Biden-Trump debate. And if ever I saw something rigged more towards one side of the argument in my life, I can't tell you when.
Well, it is kind of odd. I noticed that when they were asking the question concerning taking a drug test or if he was going to take performance-enhancing drugs, they kept continuing to punt.
Well, but again, even in spite of him taking performance-enhancing drugs, and I am talking about Joe Biden, have you seen all the evidence of that they've got a body double of him that pretty much whenever he's coherent, it's not really him. But I mean,
come on, folks, that's fake news, folks.
Well, I mean, again, it's one of those things. The hairline bit, okay, is okay. That's questionable because you can get a bad haircut. Okay, but again, he's the imposter stand-in that's lucid has better hair than the actual man that the desiccated meat puppet that is Joe Biden.
It's not uncommon. Remember that movie Dave, where the president supposedly had a stroke and he was
he was an accountant. Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, they've done that kind of nonsense has gone on since the beginning of time. But the thing that you can't deny is the pictures of the earlobes, because you either have attached earlobes or you have free earlobes. They don't switch back and forth.
No, they don't. The ears do get bigger as you get older, but they don't switch back and forth through their makeup.
Yeah. And so with that, I mean, that's photographic evidence of somebody that looks like Joe Biden with attached earlobes and somebody that looks like Joe Biden with free earlobes. And that's genetic. That don't change. That's like gender. You can't just change your mind one day and go from having free earlobes to attached earlobes or vice versa.
Ooh, you ready to jump on that soapbox tonight, ain't you?
Well, I'm just...
I done left the General Lee in the garage.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's a dangerous thing to do whenever I'm talking. But the point of the matter, I'm just sitting here thinking, so I was listening to talk radio. Now my vehicle came out during the time frame when they were really pushing satellite radio hard. So I can only pick up one radio station, and it happens to be talk radio. So I'm listening to it, and one of them that are influencer types was just having a meltdown because he pulled up his Walmart grocery list
Uh-huh.
from 2019, and I don't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say that it was like $80 to $100 for his entire month's worth of groceries.
Hmm. Well, it's like you
And
and I
he,
were talking the other night when I compared my
oh,
delivery charges
oh, absolutely.
to where
But
my
he,
normal bill was $70 and had gone to 200 and some.
exactly. And so he hit the reorder button just to see what it would cost him, and it was well over $400.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
And so that's the thing. I mean, we've had a 400% increase in the cost of living. And yet there's still these morons out there that because CNN or NBC or NPR tells them that the economy's doing great and they're in the best shape they've ever been. And these idiots push the I believe button and go on about their business. I just can't fathom the commitment to delusion that takes. It just is beyond my capacity to understand. I mean, again, during the Obama administration, every time you turn the news on, they'd tell you how wonderful the economy was doing. And I don't have to have a newscaster tell me how good I've got it. I can look at my bank balance.
Oh yeah, I see that at the end of the month, every month when I do the balancing.
Absolutely. And
And so
and you
far,
should.
it ain't balancing above water anymore. I'm going further and further underwater.
Well, let's just even back up from Democrat, Republican. Let's back up from Biden, Trump. I just want to ask you the question. If you
Okay.
were married to someone, or you had a roommate or somebody, I don't know, a spouse, a child, a parent, it doesn't matter. If there
Uh-huh.
were someone in your life that you had responsibility over their bills, meaning they wrote checks that your behind had to cash,
Right.
and they continually spent more money, not only than they earned, but that more money than you could earn or that you both could earn together. If they consistently did that, would you continue to let them have access to your bank account?
Well, I can answer that easily. If that would have been a situation that I would have been involved in, I don't think it would have gotten to that point because at some point that said person would disappear and wouldn't nobody ever find them.
Well, that's kind of the point. I mean, and even if you didn't want to go to the level of violence of removing them from the land of the living,
Well, no, it's
you
not really doing that. I'm just facilitating their transition to the spirit world.
no, and I understand. But even if you didn't want to go that far, you you you'd close off their checking account, or you'd take away their checks, or you'd get. I mean, in the situation now, say I had this in my life with my
Hmm.
ex-wife, and she had a drug problem, and so she consistently would spend just buku oodles of money. I mean, it was amazing to
Uh-huh.
me. When I found out she had a drug problem, my actual first words were, "Oh, thank God." I thought I'd forgotten how to add because I could
Oh, well,
not figure out why. I mean, that was really what I
I
said.
thought you had the Joe Biden.
Yep, man, because it was just so incredible to me that I was watching the bills and I paid the bills,
Uh-huh.
and our budget was good. We should have been in the black ink all the time. And man, I never saw red ink the whole time I was married to her. So once I figured out where the hole in the bucket was, I immediately patched said hole by
Hmm.
canceling the joint checking account and saying, okay, you put your money in your account and I'll put my money in my account, and that'll keep a roof over our heads. But then what I learned that she later figured out to do is I would go and buy groceries,
Uh-huh.
and she would take three-quarters of the groceries back to the grocery store and return them. So I was constantly buying about 300 times the amount of groceries that I needed. So she found other ways to steal from me, but I made it as difficult for her as I could
Right.
until I realized there was just absolutely no saving it. And I put an end to it. But we have that situation every day with our federal, state, and local governments. Government never gets any smaller.
No,
And we've talked.
and it seems like if they talk about reducing the size of it, it has to get bigger in order to figure out what to reduce.
Well, that's their line of happy horse shit anyway. But we used to say, again, we've talked about this back when you and I were youngins,
Well,
the
you going back in our
Republicans.
time machine.
Yep, absolutely. But the Republicans were for smaller government, more freedom, and more personal choice, and the Democrats were for this bigger government, more government
Uh-huh.
spending, welfare state. Okay.
Right.
And of course, you can't tell a nickel's worth of difference between the two parties anymore because it doesn't matter who
Hmm.
you put in office. They just keep going after more and more power and more of your money and my money. And it's just, this is far beyond what, what our founding fathers would be absolutely ashamed that we had allowed this absurdity, this atrocity of.
I have a feeling that if our founding fathers were back, let's say they showed back up tomorrow
Mhm.
and saw the government and the state that it is now, we might be right around to having another Boston Tea Party and getting ready to write another Declaration of Independence.
Oh, no, 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 no. We're well beyond that point. You had, as a citizen, as a citizen of the crown, you had so many more rights than we have now under the crown as a
Hmm.
colonist than we have. I mean, again, you didn't have to go get a fishing license to go and stick a hook in a pond and catch fish.
Right.
Okay,
Or
you have
have to
to
have a
now.
permit to catch rainwater. Who knew
Absolutely.
that was illegal?
Exactly. I mean, this stuff is beyond absurd. And I mean,
But
much
another thing, though,
less.
with this debate, though, that has kind of baffled me, and I think the debate should be put on by the news people. They should not be in charge of it.
Oh, no, not at all. Especially
Because
not the
this is
two.
nothing but a hit job,
Oh,
and all
absolutely.
they're going to be trying to do is to excuse him being Trump into saying or doing something that's going to get to be a 1 minute clip or a 2 minute viral soundbite, and they're just going to try to embarrass him. That's what they're going to try to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The two hosts for this debacle, this upcoming hit job, are the two biggest anti-Trumpers at all of CNN, and that's saying something. I mean, that's amazing. I
Yes.
mean, one of them, always name just went out of my head. Patter,
Oh,
Jake
I don't.
Tapper, Tapper,
Jake
Tapper,
Tapper.
Jake
I
Tapper.
don't really keep up with anybody at CNN. CNN hadn't been
But
worth anything since
but no,
what's his name left.
the point being, Jake Tapper has frequently compared Donald Trump and compared Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler as being worse than. And they're going to put that man as a moderator. Okay. I mean, again, look up the definition of moderate and moderator. A moderator is supposed
Hmm.
to make, to even things out,
I
to
think
keep
they
things
should do.
fair.
I think they should get like a regular citizen, not in the media, not in anything,
Well,
just any walk of life. Just randomly pick somebody out of the blue, like you won the lottery, and you're in
but
charge of this.
and I agree. They, at the very least, they should allow people in there. You realize that no one from the press outside of CNN is allowed into the building during the
Well,
taping.
we're not, and here's the thing though, we're not even going to know if it's really live or if it's something that they've edited
Well,
and cut up.
but hang tight. The stream will be delayed by a full 2 minutes. Do you know how much
So that's,
editing can be done in 2 minutes?
hey, if you look at our past podcast, maybe quite a bit.
But I mean, it is absolutely insane. If Daniel had had this kind of thing, stacked against him when he was going into the lion's den, Jehovah would have said, "Hold up a minute, boss."
That's right. Exactly. And
Just
Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego might not have made it through the fire.
that's it.
But see, what happened to the days? And, like, I understand supposedly he didn't garner enough support in their polls and stuff. But, what happened to the days to when I thought if you were having a debate, you had to include the candidates that were running.
Oh no, they don't have to do that now. That is for darn sure. They don't have to
Yeah,
do
but didn't they used to
diddly.
have to do that?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, they used to actually care about trying to convince the people that have enough brains to pay attention that the government was not against them, that it was actually the legal system was fair,
Uh-huh.
and that you didn't have the deck stacked against you. They tried to convince you of that, but they don't even try. They haven't. I mean, and again, that's the thing. The minute that I knew that the experiment of the United States was over was when Nancy Pelosi stood on the Senate floor and said, "You can't know what's in the bill until you vote for it. You have to vote for it before we're going to tell you what's in it."
Right.
Now, that first thing should have had her immediately censured, expelled, and removed from the position of the Speaker of the House. Immediately.
Hmm. Right.
There should do not pass go.
She
Do not
never should have been left as the third in line for the throne.
absolutely. Now that's the first thing that should have happened. The second thing that should have happened is they shouldn't have voted on the thing. They should have turned around and walked out
Right.
because that's not what they're up there for. But at least what they're not. That's not what they're supposed to be up there for. But
Well,
again, that
I kind of, and what really brought me ask that or say that is there was an article on the Slate today, or yesterday, that it said, and I think the headline was something like CNN has a plan for keeping Donald Trump from hijacking Thursday's debate. There's reason to worry.
there's reason to worry what that he's
Well, I
going to
don't know. That's
hijack
just
it.
the headline. And I'm like, of what, and this is like it's continued the cycle of trying to the test for insanity. When you continue to do the same thing over
Over and
and
over. Yep.
over and over, and then claim that the stuff's broke and it's somebody else's fault.
Right. Absolutely.
We
Well,
this, I mean, the man. Hey, I think maybe the 2 minutes is so they can change his diaper
I have
or
no
something
idea.
in between. Hell, I don't know.
Well, I mean, again, if that is actually the real, honest to goodness Uncle Joe that we have seen in on TV in
Uh-huh.
France with Macron and all of that stuff wandering off the stage.
Or and then
If
at the D-Day things to where he turns around, and I guess in
Yeah,
my screen it didn't look like there was anybody there, and he was trying to shake hands with the air again.
yeah, I mean, again, if that is actually him, then they're I don't know what the drugs are that they're going to be hopping him up with, but I imagine that the two
Well, hey,
minutes will be
if they
to
were,
top him off.
I may have to look at some of that myself. I may want some of that.
I understand, but
I
again,
made a discovery.
what what
I have
discovery?
found something, and I don't remember if we talked about this last week or not, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's just that blame good.
All right,
My beautiful wife, she's in my good graces today because she told me about this. Normally, it may be a different story, but today she's my good wife.
all right,
She told me of this new drink that Canada Dry has called Fruit Splash Ginger Ale.
all right.
And it is a cherry flavored ginger ale. And it kind of reminds me, they have two other flavors, but I can't drink them because I'm in the diabetes club with Wilford Brimley.
Hmm.
And they have blackberry and cranberry, but they don't have them in zero sugar. But this fruit splash one, cherry one, they have in zero sugar. And I am going to be honest with you, that is without a doubt one of the best sodas I believe I have ever partaken.
Well, outstanding. I am very happy for you, sir.
It's right up there with a big old ice cold sun kissed.
Well, outstanding, sir. But I'm gonna get back on the soapbox. I'm happy for you,
Okay.
and I'm happy that your wife is in your good graces and you got a good sody
I,
pop.
Andy, you got to say it and got to give her props because damn for shit, that hell don't happen very often.
Now, of course, I'm thinking of Foghorn Leghorn. What you drinking there, son? Sody pop. Watch it fizz.
You know, we probably just went way over a lot of our listeners' heads.
Oh, I'm sure we did.
And I
But,
know there's probably going to be some confusion when they go to find us as we are located in a new place on the interwebs.
oh my goodness.
We are with
We are.
a new provider. I don't even know. I know we're on two of them. I don't know about the rest of them, but I know two of them we're hot and heavy on.
Hot dog. Well, we can only do what we can do. But again,
We're
now
going
one
to
of the
win golden beans.
golden beans. All right. Well,
Don't know
is that
what you do
anything?
with them. Don't know what they are, but it's a thing, evidently.
Is that anything like a magic bean? If we plant
It's
them,
possible.
will we get to have a magic beanstalk?
If you have five of them, you can plant them, and it grows an actual government of the people and for the people and by the people.
Well, but again, now
But you
so
know,
back.
that's another thing too, though, that's tied into this whole debate. They keep
Uh-huh.
saying, "Oh, Donald Trump is killing democracy. He's going to kill democracy, and he's a danger to democracy." Well, you know, the last time I checked, evidently the people are ignorant because we're not a democracy. We're a
Oh no, they're
constitutional republic.
and well, no, we're actually currently we're not even a self-respecting oligarchy. We're a plutocracy because
Well,
the
but what we're supposed to be.
we are supposed to be a constitutional republic. Yes. We hadn't
Yes.
been a constitutional republic for a little bit at this point. At the point where the senator's primary job became raising money for either the RNC or the DNC
Well, now wait a minute. You forgot one thing they got to raise money for.
to be reelected.
That and one other thing.
Okay.
To fight the foodborne illnesses that they get when Chuck Schumer invites them to a cookout.
Yeah, no kidding. I saw that. Oh my God.
It's just crazy. And you
Yeah.
can tell he was that's one of those things to where it's a New Yorker doing something that they ought not to be doing. It's like,
Yep.
damn brother, I don't believe I told that.
That's exactly right. Well, but the thing is, all right, so you heard that CNN recently finally admitted that they were wrong about Bubba Wallace, that they were wrong about Jesse Smollett, that they were wrong about the Covington Catholic schoolboys, and that they were wrong about the Hunter Biden laptop. But you didn't hear about it because it was buried in the closing minutes when you've already cleaned
Mhm.
out anyway type thing. So the point of the matter is, if the news media, especially the mainstream CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, NPR, if these guys are screaming about something, it's a lie. It's something
Oh,
they
most
want
definitely.
you to believe, but it is most certainly not the truth. And if they mention something just in passing that you obviously aren't intended to hear, then it's the truth. But I mean, again, and how in the world can people watch that diatribe and go, well, they lied here, they lied there, they lied here, they lied there, but this new thing they're going to tell me the truth about. I just can't.
It's the definition of insanity.
Well, it's a tremendous commitment to delusion. And I just can't fathom it. It's the same thing as 50 and 60
It's
year
kind of
old
like
women
the people. It's
getting their
kind of like.
knickers twisted about abortion. You're not
Well, I
going
was
to
gonna.
get pregnant.
It's kind of like, yeah, exactly, and it's kind of like my wife, who is a good wife because of the drink, watching pro wrestling.
Mhm.
Even when the stuff happened, like in 1985, she still get worked over that stuff. Hit him, hit him, hit him. I was like, well, you know who's gonna win? That
That's
shit
right.
was 30 some years ago, and we were there.
I don't, I don't know, my friend. I
But I'm gonna tell you,
just,
this has been a rough week.
all right, tell me
At the
about it.
replica bat cave, we have had a house guest,
Uh-oh.
my
Oh,
niece's
yeah.
little dog.
You told me about that.
He is the most obstinate, ornery, hateful little heifer I have ever seen in my life. He has gotten me out of my routine, and he's gotten Flossie baby dog out of her routine. And the other day, that hottest day of the year, when he didn't want to go to the bathroom, I didn't want to do him to kill him.
How do you really feel about it, Mike?
Well, that after that, that was like the first real full day. After that, he's kind of chilled out a little bit, and because my niece was like, "Oh, well, he don't never have to go out before 8:30 or 9 o'clock because he don't never get out of bed." Well, by God, he does now. That first morning when he was here, when I was ready to go out at 5 a.m., he didn't want to get out, so I dumped that little bucket up, that crate up that he's living in, and dumped his little ass right out of bed. And he waddled right on out. Now, by God, when my feet hit the ground, he's out of that crate and he is ready to go outside.
You got his attention, I reckon.
I must have. But I'll tell you this,
Oh.
my niece is going to have a heck of a time waking up at 3 o'clock when he starts waking her up to go out to potty.
That's sauce for the goose, my friend. It's fair.
Exactly. But just and the bad part is he's a sweet little fella, but he's a lot older than Flossie, and
Mhm.
so Flossie wants to play and jump and do all this other stuff. And of course, Flossie is bigger than he is, but he just doesn't want to play. And Flossie don't understand. Well, why are you here if you don't want to play?
Oh, absolutely. I get it. I understand. I feel the same way frequently.
I do too.
Oh my goodness. What are we going to do, my friend? What are we going to
Well,
do?
I've
I
been
really
thinking about
fear.
moving to Iceland.
Well, I've heard Iceland is pretty nice, but it's cold.
Well,
Well, you like it cold.
I like it cold,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you this: I can deal with volcanoes. At least that's a known quantity and known danger than
Mhm.
dealing with backstabbing, lying politicians.
Well, unfortunately, those exist all over the world, and I'm not sure that there's a corner. Well, I mean, again, if we allow the death knells of the experiment that was the United States to continue, and I really feel like we're in the death throes. I'm sorry, but it's just I've been saying this for a long time, and unfortunately, nobody has been able to prove me wrong. You know, that's going, I mean, and you look again at the end of the Holy Roman Empire, when the Holy Roman Empire ended, which was the last thing that was even reasonably um,
Democratic.
comparable to the position that the United States held. That ushered in a long period of very dark, tyrannical um, organizations, governments, what
Mhm.
have you. And I mean, there was a long, long period of really terrible atrocities performed against humanity by these people. And that's where we're headed. So, if you think that abortion is the number one issue, you're delusional. If you think that the border is the number one issue, you're delusional. If the number one issue is, are we going to allow the light of freedom to be
Mhm.
extinguished? Because they're trying. they are stomping on that thing and throwing water on it and burying it as hard as they can go.
Hammer down,
And
baby.
you know,
Hey, like
that's
our
the
thing
issue.
says, if you can't go balls deep, you might as well stay home. Oh, wait, that's not our motto, is it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what our motto is. Oh my goodness,
I
my
got some
friend.
interesting science news this week.
All right, tell me about it.
Well, out in Australia, you know, they do other things besides grill shrimp and crap like that.
Okay.
Some sperm whales have showed up off the coast of Australia.
All right.
And then some big rascals, right? That's
Yes,
like
they
the
are.
Moby Dick looking things, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Them big old rascals.
Yep.
Well, there's a group of them down there that showed up off the coast of Australia, and they are
Okay.
being chased by the baddest animal in the ocean, regardless of who, what, when, why, where, and how around.
Okay.
And that's the orca,
Yeah.
the killer
Why in the
whale.
world is a killer whale chasing a sperm whale?
Well, there's a couple of options. Either it's trans-species, which, you know, with these definitions, we're not sure what its pronouns are. But the sperm whales are repelling all borders because they are taking dumps on the orcas to stop them from attacking them.
Well,
And this is the truth. This is on from coming out of the BBC in their wildlife section.
yeah. I mean, it's
You can't make this up.
that would definitely be a deterrent. Now, I did come across something just the other day that I was fascinated by, and it's about numbers. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Now,
Wait a minute.
if you
Now, wait a minute.
notice,
Wait a minute. You and I both went to a school,
yep,
right? We have a common school. And math ain't
yes.
one of the strong suits at that common school that I went to. Mine was beer drinking, LSD taking, and some other stuff.
Well, I'm going to leave that on the table and I'm going to tell you the rest about numbers.
Okay.
So, if you look at all of the known and historical numbering systems, okay, the
All
number
right.
one is very obviously a hash mark. The number two, in most cases, is also obviously a hash mark. Now, I'll get to our Arabic number two and our Arabic number three here in a moment.
Okay.
Number three, again, is a hash mark. So think about Roman numerals, for example, 1, 2, and 3. 1 hash mark, 2 hash marks, 3 hash marks.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get to number 4, and at number 4, it becomes a symbol, which is essentially 5 minus 1. Okay. Now the intriguing thing is some smart person did a significant amount of study on all of this stuff, but that is true of all numbers. Now the Arabic number 2 and the Arabic
Mm-hmm.
number 3, which is what we use here in English as our
Mm-hmm.
numbering system, is actually a cursive drawing on the number 2 of 2 hash marks. So it's up and then another one up, but it's over on its side. And 3 is the
Okay.
same thing. It's actually 3 hash marks just drawn as you would in cursive. Okay, which I
Okay.
know is confusing to anybody that is outside of Gen X because they don't know how to
They don't
write
write in
cursive anymore.
cursive no more. That's right.
So, but again, it's still 1, 2, and 3. Now, the studies that these folks did show that human beings across the board, even down into infancy, have an innate understanding of 1, 2, and 3. But after 3, so I mean, again, if you're looking at 1, 2, and 3, if you just take dots and you're looking at dots of 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots, you're
Yeah.
okay with 4 dots for the most part. 5
Okay.
dots, pusher is a push. But from 6 dots on up, you got to sit and count those rascals, or you got to do some math and group them up in order to get to the number. So at
Gotcha.
any rate, the point being, what they talked about is, again, when they did all these tests on infants, and infants have an understanding of, they have an understanding of 1, 2, and 3. But after 3, it becomes a symbol because you have to actually think about it. So they can do studies with dots where they flash a dot
Hmm.
up into your face, or a number of dots. And 1, 2, and 3, you can pick out just like nobody's business. At 4 and up is when your brain has to start kicking in, and you have to figure
Hmm.
that rascal out. And cuneiform was the only one of them that they brought up of the known numbering systems that actually had 4 hash marks at the number 4 instead of going to a symbol. So they went to a symbol at the
Hmm.
number 5 in cuneiform. But all the rest of them, it is a symbol when you hit number 4.
That's interesting.
It was fascinating. And again, they showed the some of the, I mean, this was a video I was watching, and they showed the reactions of toddlers
Uh-huh.
to different things with numbers, and those rascals are paying attention, and they get bored
Uh,
if you're doing what they expect you to do. But if they see something unexpected, they perk up because they're little scientists, and they're like trying to figure out the
hmm.
world.
Ain't
And
that
another
something?
thing that was interesting is your training, because if you're trained to think of the number line from left to right, you automatically assume that a larger number, if you can't count them, a
Hmm.
larger number you will assume to be on the right. Whereas if the ordinal that you learn is from right to left, you'll always assume that the larger number is on the left.
That's interesting.
So there's a lot of
Now,
programming that's involved too.
I have a number story that's completely way different than that.
All right.
The only story I know that entails numbers was told by the great Jerry Clower.
All right, sir.
And I like Jerry Clower. I like, whoo, it's a big one, especially with that triple goat baker coffee, baby.
I hear you.
All right, but anyway, his story about the numbers was when he got famous and made some money, or that was doing pretty good, he wanted to get a Rolex watch.
All right.
So he went to the store to buy a Rolex watch, and Rolexes, they have Roman numerals. And he told the salesperson that he didn't want a Rolex watch with Roman numerals on it. He wanted to count off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy says, well, they don't make them. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, I want a Rolex watch with a Sears and Roebuck watch face. And they made it for him.
Well, I believe it. I believe it entirely.
Things are just squirrely. I mean, you got the Daily Wires counting us down. They're counting down all the crap that's going on. We're getting ready. It feels like we're getting ready for like a big boxing match
Oh yeah.
or something.
Well, according to everything I've heard, that's not the only thing we're getting ready for. From the things I've heard, basically they are just chafing at the bit to start the next world war. And when I say they, I'm talking about like the moneyed elite and the folks that they basically, what they've done is they borrowed and spent themselves into a hole that's so deep
Uh-huh.
they can't get out of it without starting a war.
Well,
Because
that's
then
what
in the
got us out
war,
of the Depression.
oh, absolutely. When you go to war, then it's like, hey, you're bad people because we're at war with you, so therefore we don't have to pay you back. But
Yeah,
you know,
that's kind of, yeah, well, we're at an interesting time.
yeah, that's the Chinese curse. May you live in interesting
Well, now
times.
China's a little bit perplexed too, because you got North Korea and Russia kissing pigs
Hmm. Well, I mean, there's
and
no
stuff
doubt
like that.
there ain't no doubt that it's that the world is in a heap of trouble right now. So the
Well,
best
and
advice
I
I
go
can
back.
give you.
I like them TikToks, and I'm so far I'm glad that it ain't banned because I
No,
do
I
like
I agree. I don't think it should be banned because
I think it will
ByteDance.
eventually be banned unless
Well, you know
something
why they want
happens.
to. You know the main reason that they want to ban it is that
Because they
that
ain't figured out how to tax it.
well, no, the tickle talks they hadn't figured out how to shut them up and get them to start censoring the content
Uh,
they don't want out there. So that's
well,
where a lot of
I like
people are getting
TikTok.
their actual news.
I've been watching a guy on there, and he just popped up on my For You page
Hmm.
one day, and he used to be a journalist that lived here in the United States.
Hmm.
And I think I've mentioned him before, but
Okay.
he was doing a lot of investigative stuff on the January 6th stuff. And it
Hmm.
got him into a lot of trouble with the federal government,
Hmm.
the FBI, and all the alphabet soup people and all this other
Hmm.
stuff.
Yep.
So he just left and he went to Russia.
Hmm.
And he's talking about his daily life there, and he's talking about how things are,
Hmm.
and we're seeing it firsthand. I mean, because you're seeing it in his videos, and there are a lot of this stuff. At first, oh well, it was probably staged, but if you're going in your day to day life, you're not going to stage people that work at a gas station. You're not going to
No.
stage a gas station. You're not going to stage a shopping mall and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And, we were told that Russia is being crippled with all of these sanctions. We're hurting their money and the oil and all this stuff. He's going in there. Every brand of chip and candy that is sold here in America, Lay's, Snickers, Twix, they're still on the shelves over there.
Oh
Coca
yeah.
Cola, it's all still there. So
Hmm.
when are we going to start getting the truth, or when are we just going to? Because I'm done. You and I have talked about this before.
Hmm.
I don't listen to any domestic news sites whatsoever. I don't listen to
Yep.
any of them. They're all liars.
Oh yeah, they are. It's only
Besides,
the
if it's any good, they're going to make a movie out of it.
there's some truth to that. So the answer to that, my friend, is when is it well, so the overall question is when is this going to stop? And the answer to that is it's going to stop when people reach a point where they've had enough. And we haven't reached that point yet. And it is astounding to me the level of commitment to delusion that so many people have that they just simply will not listen. I mean, you can tell them, you can point out where they have been lied to.
Hmm.
Now, one of my favorites is I have a tendency of asking people, why? Why are you going to do this? Now, and again, usually the question is, why are you going to throw a lever for a Democrat? And I usually get the answer, well, I like their policies. Well, what
Okay.
policy is it that you like? Never once. Now, a woman will always immediately throw abortion out there. Immediately. Women love having the right to kill a baby. I mean, they just absolutely love it.
Seems like to me they'd love the right to keep the dad blame's legs closed.
Oh no, they don't want that. What they want is they want to be
Well,
able to
they
do
don't,
what they,
because that would precipitate a level of personal responsibility.
but that's the point. They want the authority and they want the freedom, but they do not want the accountability for their actions. So they
Hmm.
want to be able to make stupid decisions because it feels good, but they don't want to accept the accountability for the stupid decisions that they make. Okay. That's the whole thing that's missing is everybody wants to be able to make their own decisions and do what they want to do. Again, I want to be able to smoke half a bag of weed every morning and then operate heavy machinery or get behind the wheel of a car. Okay. I mean, again, you can't do that. You have to be held accountable for the damage you're going to cause if you
Right,
go out
right.
there all drugged up out of your mind. Okay. Now, therein lies the major problem is one of accountability, and people need to be held accountable for their actions. But you
Hmm.
get, especially for women, you get this, but I didn't mean it to be that way. I didn't mean for that to happen. Well, doesn't matter if you meant for it to happen or not. It was kind of obvious that that was what was going to happen,
Well, I mean,
and you did
what's
it
that old
anyway.
saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
It absolutely is. And again, we got all of these platitudes, such as show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are, you know,
My
sticks
favorite
and
ones,
go ahead.
my favorite.
Oh, go ahead, share it.
Bless their little hearts.
Bless their little hearts. But no,
I
they're,
mean, that sums it up. I mean, bless their
yeah,
little hearts. It ain't our fault they're dumbasses.
yep. But
Wait a minute,
again,
does that take the general league, or is that kind of borderline?
dude, I don't know. You'll have to make that determination during the edit. Well, I mean, again, basically the most vulgar thing you can do these days and the most offensive thing you can do for most people is tell the truth anymore. So,
Oh Lord, we the most vulgar podcast on the
ah,
face of God's earth. Then,
quite possibly, quite possibly.
well, how does it feel to have the fame at last? All right, with that,
Well,
that's the snout to the curly tail and everything in between. We are we do not have a commitment to delusion, and we gone.
have a
All
good
right,
night.
you crazy bunch of motherfuckers. Wait, can we say mother? Anyway, you've been listening to the Carolina Underground. It isn't politically correct, it's just correct. Our motto is, if you can't go balls deep, don't go at all. Actually, that's not our motto, and I'm sorry, I don't even know what that meant. All right, we gotta go. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't, we hope it really pissed you off. Follow us on Twitter at Carolina UNDGRND. Underground, get it? Or drop us an email at Carolina UNDGRND. Get it? At northstate.net. We want to hear from you. Y'all be cool. See you next time on Carolina Underground.